Welcome to Inside Builder channel, large language model automators, Python experts, and my dear friends. Streamlining machine learning deployment in the cloud with Modal. Speed through proof of concept to deploying your model with Modal in no time. Deploying AI ideas in the cloud is the challenge of the hour. Whether it is open source models or it is ideas that is based on closed source models like Bard or ChatGPT, we all are facing the same challenge, that how to convert your idea into code, into product, and then deploy it into the internet so that people can use it and benefit from it. Today, the AI ideas are not just code. It also contains large language models that are really huge. Code, on the contrary, is maximum, it comes in MBs. Even if it is a huge code base, it comes in MBs. But models by themselves can cross GBs. So if you have seen any of the large language models like Llama or NPT 7 billion, you know that it crosses 24 to 30 GB. And it needs hardware resources like GPU and high performing CPUs and RAM, which is not available with most of us. And second point is that even if it is available, placing it in the internet, connecting it to the to the customer is going to be a challenge. All this can be solved by Modal. That is the main key point. Another key point is that in case of POC, that is proof of concept, you can work with cloud services like AWS, GCP, etc., and come up with proof of concept, use the large language models and do a lot of stuff. However, when you're going to move it to the deployment, it is going to have its own learning curve. Both of these activities has been taken care by Modal, the service, one of the cloud services which has come up. And all this is done using Python code. So Modal has a Modal-client Python library that you can pip install it and you can be up and running in no time. And it is also open source and it helps in automating. It has lots of examples already available. So I'll be showing you the examples, couple of examples in a couple of minutes. That is the key. That is the point that we are going to discuss in this particular video. Modal in 4 steps. It starts by, you have to first of all understand what is Modal. So it's a compute service, end-to-end cloud compute service. It can do model inferences, batch jobs, task queues, name it. It can actually do it because it's actually running in Python, and it can be done through pip install Modal-client. And in order to get the access for the API, you need to use Modal token new command. It is as simple as that. And after that, you can execute this code. I mean, this part of the code, not this one. This part of the code will execute and it will run this particular function. You see, it will run in the remote server. On the contrary, this particular code is a simple Python code. It is going to, this particular function is the same function. This same function is going to, has been used here, but this function will run in your local machine, wherever you are invoking this particular script. That is the difference. We'll be seeing how different it is. The reason why I'm actually discussing about this is that when I was having this particular problem, I was searching for a solution, right? And I came across this particular, just a minute. So I was discussing with some of my subscribers, and one of the subscribers, Mr. Prashant, had introduced me to one of the repo, the Git repo called as developer. So this is a AI developer. I'll be covering it in the next video about this particular concept, particular repo. The point of this particular repo was that you can actually use the large language model as a supporting developer, a junior developer. Okay, so there are lots of videos already on this, but I have a different take on how to work with this. The point was not the actual concept of having an AI developer, but the point was how these guys had run the code. So when I was reviewing the code, I always go and review the code. In that way, I can learn a lot more. So when I was reviewing this code, I saw that they had used something called as Modal, and I wanted to understand what is it, and I started searching for it. So this is when I came across the Modal service, the Modal cloud service. So this is their website, Modal cloud service website. You can go to this and you can get a lot of information from them. I would urge that sign up. Sign up is free, and they give a $30 signing up amount which you can use for learning. And once you log in, it's pretty straightforward login. You can use GitHub for signing up and logging in, and you will start seeing how to get started. And it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's one of the most well thought out documentation that I've come across, and their library, I mean, the Modal-client library is also really good. And you see, immediately we see that the same code that I showed in the presentation, you can see that here also. And they actually walk you through the process and explain to you. My intention here is, you might be thinking, Kamal, it's already there. What kind of value you are adding? The value that I'm adding is in the way of using this Modal cloud service for your AI ideas. Okay. For that, you might be thinking, okay, what kind of models, what kind of ideas we can deploy, right? For that, if you have been following up with my various videos, you must have already come across the various tasks that the Hugging Face open source models can do, and I've made 2 videos about that. And I've also discussed about a couple of ways to deploy these models in SageMaker. Like this is one more way. Modal is one more way to deploy these models in the cloud. Okay, so let me give you an example. Just hold for a moment. So this is in my terminal. I have taken one of the examples given by Modal team, and I have written the script. I have typed the script by myself to create this particular output. So what I'm doing is, I have already, okay, so before I run this, you have to ensure that you have done pip install Modal and Modal client. It's very important. Modal is also one another library, so don't get confused with it. You have to use pip install Modal client, and then you have to run Modal token new. So once you do this, you will be taken through the authentication flow, and you'll be taken to a website where you'll be asked to generate the token. Once you generate the token, after that you can execute this particular code. This particular code, let me go back to the PDF for a moment. So this particular code that I'm executing there, it is going on. This particular code is already registered, I mean committed to the GitHub repo, and I have already shared it. So this is the GPT-2 generate.py that I'm going to discuss, and also there is a getting started .py that I'll be sharing with you guys in a couple of minutes. So let us go back to the terminal. And before that, I believe that you like this video. Do leave a like and share it with others. Subscribe to my channel for further updates on not just large language models. I cover various related libraries in this ecosystem that support open source, as well as that helps the developers to learn and master their trade. That is problem solving. With that said, let us go to the terminal again. And you see that I have an output. And this particular output has been initialized in this particular location. It's not in my local machine. This output did not come from my local machine. This was created from the Modal ecosystem, Modal execution system in the cloud. And you see, this is the nice day 2. So this is the prompt that I provided to the GPT-2 model, the open source GPT-2 text generation model, and you see that it talks about a lot of interesting stuff, and it has given me an output. Okay, how did I get this output? So let us actually take a look at the code. So I hope that you guys are quite comfortable with Vim. So what? Let me actually go to the presentation for a moment. The point I always insist in my videos is for you guys to practice, and Modal cloud compute service has all the necessary ingredients for you guys to practice. It has examples, it has got the necessary hardware resources, and you have Hugging Face for getting the models, and there is nothing to stop you from practicing, except, okay, there is always something that comes as a challenge. So when you're going to work with open source models, there could be challenges when you're going to install libraries like PyTorch and transformers and various models inside the open source community can have various dependencies. So this will take some time to get used to. So even though Modal has done everything from their side when they are creating the examples, but when you install it, when you try it out, there could be challenges. Okay, so the point is, be patient, try to learn about this technology, see how what things are happening, how things are happening, try to visualize that, and try to practice. So that is the intention of creating this particular video, and so that also I can introduce you to this particular service, so that you can practice and you can learn in your free time. If you are working, you can do it in your free time. If you're already working, then you can make a presentation and show it to your colleagues and your your team, so that they can also learn. Okay, so let us go back to the terminal where my code is already up and running. I always type the code. So the reason why I type the code is, when I type the code, I make a lot of mistakes, and from that mistakes I get to learn a lot of stuff. So here you see that I am creating okay, when it comes to Modal script, so this is actually a Modal client script. How I know that it's a Modal client script? Because I'm importing Modal, and it starts by creating an object called as stub. I mean, this is a class instance called stub, and once you create this instance, inside the Modal cloud compute environment, one of the compute environment gets assigned, and it is called as an application, and it will be given a name example-GPT2. Once that is done, I tried to create a local volume. This did not work. I tried that it will create a local volume, but it did not work. Don't worry about that. These are some things that I practice. So this particular function actually downloads the model. It imports the transformers pipeline. It downloads the model, GPT-2 model, and it actually saves the GPT-2 model to this particular volume. Actually, this particular volume is inside the Modal service cloud environment. It's not in your local environment. This is something that I learned. And what is happening here is, I am actually creating a stub function. This particular function has to be together like this, or else it will. So basically what I am doing is, I am creating a function called as generate_text, which will be registered in the stub instance. So this is what this particular function does. And in that particular function, what I am doing is, I am calling a Debian Slim image. You don't need to worry about this stuff right now. Okay, all you need to do is start working with the getting started. So let me make your life a little bit easier. So all you need to do is start working with the getting started and understand this, and then you can go for further examples here, and you can do it step by step. But what I am doing is, anyway, so the point of watching this video is that you need to get a good idea, right? So you can either follow that route, come step by step, and then watch this video to understand it better. But what I'm doing is, I'm bypassing all this stuff. I'm actually showing you what Modal-client library does, and for you to get a conceptual idea. That is the intention. Even though this particular example is already available inside Modal, I want to add this particular conceptual idea for you guys. That is the intention. So this particular function will take the image. The image will be, which is already available in Modal cloud compute ecosystem, and it will start installing torch and transformers, and then it will run the function. You see this particular function? Excuse me. This particular function, the download model, this will be run by this particular function itself. And after that, the generate text function will be run. So this generate_text actually again calls the pipeline model, and then it calls the uses the prompt that we provide, and it creates the output. So the output that we saw here, this particular output is created by this particular function. Okay, so here we learned a couple of things. We learned that Modal starts by allocating instances, and we can create Python models that can be called by the Modal instance stub, and also the stub instance we can actually customize it based on the image. The image here is the OS, operating system, that we can use. It is in this case Debian Slim. You might be thinking, Kamal, this doesn't look like an operating system. This looks like a simple method. Yeah, what is happening here is Modal has abstracted all of the complexity, and they have given us simple Python primitives. It's more like you guys must have heard of LangChain. You guys must have heard of transformers, pandas. All these are various Python libraries that helps to abstract the most difficult and also sometimes boring details, and they give a very simple interface. So Debian Slim is an interface which actually instantiates a Debian Linux operating system inside the hardware that has been created by this particular instance. So all this is happening, okay, and all this is happening without even letting you know. This is all fully automated, and it is all done through various Python interfaces at the back end. If you guys want to understand how these things are done in AWS or GCP, feel free to check their documentation. In case of AWS, they have Boto 3 client library or AWS SDK for pandas. So they have 2 client libraries in case of AWS. GCP has a list of Google Cloud libraries for you guys to look at. But I would really suggest that don't go in that route. It will take a lot of time for you guys to learn. Once that is done, you can the next is we have to execute this particular function. This particular function is going to be executed in this particular image that has been created, and the output is sent back to the local machine. So this is the key point. So here is the code here is the invocation. So I am saying modal run, I am calling the script, I am giving this prompt. So this prompt is the prompt that I am, sorry about this. So this is the prompt that I am providing in the main function, which is the local entry point. So this prompt is actually an argument that you provide in the invocation, during the invocation time. So this is an argument, and this is the string that we provide. So that is how you instantiate start the script, okay? And once you start the script, it actually calls. So you see how is this particular generate_text function is called. It is having a method called as .call, and this particular function is now registered with the stub. So it also has another one method called as map. So if you have multiple prompts, you can actually map it to the list of prompts also. These things you can learn it from the documentation also, but I am giving you a heads up what is available. And once that is done, I am just printing the generation, that is the generator output. This is what you guys see. This is what you guys will learn. I have actually I have given you an introduction that is little more complex, but at the same time I have given you a very detailed view of what Modal client and the script is doing. So now that I have given you a very complex example, let me actually make your life a bit easier and try to give something which is easier. So let us go to exploring Modal, and let us say get started Py. This is a very simple code, okay? And this is the same code that you will find in the browser. So if you go here, this is the same code that you will find. And let us go back to the terminal. Here, what is happening is the same process. This is a simple code. Okay, the same process happens. So it starts by the stub, and here is the GPT-2 example. This is one of the typos that I have made. So when you type, you make a lot of mistakes. That is something that I have found out. And once you make those mistakes, once you correct it by yourself, you will actually learn a lot more. And once I create this particular this instance, I can register any of the methods or functions to this instance, and I do it by calling the decorator. That is a square decorator. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something different. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how I practice, so that you guys can actually understand a bit better. Okay, I'm going to just copy it, paste it. Sorry about that, I was having some issue, and I'm going to register something called as multiply. Okay, multiply and okay, I'm going, okay, instead of multiply, it's already there, so let us say add number. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two data here. So I'm going to take x and y, and I'm going to just add x and y. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this add number function from the local entry point. So that particular function, hold on a minute, let me delete this, this is not required. So from the local entry point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this function, but I need to actually get the information from the main as a prompt, right? So I say num1 and num2. Okay, and then I say print the sum of, let us say, num1 and num2 is what is the function name? Add num, right? So the function name is add num dot call. That is more important, and we actually send the two numbers. Okay, and we have to ensure that we give the appropriate numbers in the prompt also. So what we are going to do is let us write this to the code, and I'm going to execute this. Keep in mind that whenever you are trying to learn something new, you have to make mistakes, right? And I have a mistake here, so you will see that in a couple of minutes what will happen. Okay, so I'm going to give two different numbers. Okay, and I'm going to execute this. Let us see what kind of error this throws. And most of you guys must have already guessed what is going to happen. Okay, first and foremost, it is saying that it is an invalid syntax. So what is invalid syntax? Make the function part of the modal. What is wrong here? So let us go back up. So this particular argument, this particular area, whichever it is taking, it is not actually working. Hold on. So there has been a mistake here. So I had removed the hash mark, so it has created a mistake there. And I'm going to rerun the code. Let us see what other error it throws. Okay, now you see that there is some, first of all, there is a collision. There are two particular methods here. So you see there are two squares. I don't need to have that. And second is that the output has come in a different way. Okay, first of all, I have made a mistake. I have not done the string literal. So let us correct it. Okay, let us come down here and let us make the life a bit easier by putting a string literal here, and also making this proper output. So this is the first mistake, but let us see, there is one more mistake that will actually come up. Let us execute this. Okay, now you see that this addition has taken 58 and 780 and it has added it as if it has concatenated. We did not expect that to happen, right? This happened because I had not converted the numbers into integers. Okay, anytime you give any of the numbers in the prompt, that is in the when you are giving the command, it goes as a string. It does not know that it is actually a number, even if it is a number. Okay, so you have to convert it, typecast it like this, and then you have to do it. Okay, so now when I execute the same code, it will work. So whether it is Modal client or Python client, the errors that I am facing is same. Okay, but how it is getting executed, you see there are a couple of containers getting created. So for each function, couple of containers are getting created, and now you see the output has been appropriately created. And it's not just that. I'll be showing you right now, going to the browser, I'll be showing you all this execution in a couple of minutes. So let us go to the apps. And you see there, these are the, okay, let us click on this. So if you come down here, you will see, yeah, these are the various calls that has been done. So you see for square, this is the call that has been done. And for add num, this is the call that has been done. And you can see the logs also. If you click on the logs, you can check the logs, what has happened, and whether the code has come here or not. All this information you can actually get from the interface. This is one of the most important points that I found very interesting with Modal. They have abstracted everything, but they have given you sufficient information for you guys to understand what is going on. And once you learn more and more, once you practice more and more, once you make mistakes like how I am doing, you will actually come up to speed in no time. Let us go back to the presentation. So I hope that you guys have got some clarity on what is Modal, how to work with Modal with both large language models like GPT-2 and work with open source models, and also work with simple Python scripts, because Modal is not just only for artificial intelligence models. It can be used for various other applications like web scraping. It can be used for applications that involves the stuff you want to put it in the internet, put it out in the internet, that you cannot run it in your local machine. That also you can use Modal and automate it. All these activities like task queues, web applications can be done from Modal. With that said, I believe that you had some good introduction to Modal in this video. Do leave a like if you like the content, and share it with others, as this is a new technology and it's a new product. And most importantly, it allows you to practice and to see how rusty or how well you understand Python concepts. And I hope you liked the way I showed you the practicing process. You can try it out and you can share me your feedback so that I will also learn from you guys. And finally, do subscribe to my channel for further updates, not just on large language model related Python libraries, but on overall Python ecosystem, open source ecosystem. With that said, I would like to leave this particular video with 4 words, that is practice, 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 practice. See you guys. Have a great time.